watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. As usual, we are powered by Hospitality News Magazine and Hospitality News Magazine Online. If you're one of these people that's into the hospitality scene, maybe you're a chef, maybe you're not a chef, maybe your brother's a chef, maybe your cousin's a chef, and you want to know what's happening. Maybe you couldn't go to the convention this weekend. Maybe you wanted to go out last night to the big show and you couldn't make it. Hospitality News Magazine is where you find all that information, is where you find out about the latest equipment and everything hospitality. Look no further. If you want to check out something that you like tonight, if you want to follow us, you go to YouTube, Go Crying the Walk-In, like, subscribe, and share. And for everything Chef Cholo, check out my Instagram page at Chef Cholo8. Today, I am truly honored to welcome Chef John Doherty, the chef owner at Blackbarn Restaurant in New York City. After graduating from the Culinary Institute of America, John began his career at the Waldorf-Astoria in 1978 and quickly rose to the ranks to become executive chef at the young age of 27, where he stayed for 23 years. Throughout those years, he cooked for more kings, presidents, and heads of state than any other chef in the country. He authored the Waldorf-Astoria Cookbook and received the prestigious James Beard Silver Spoon Award, an honorary doctorate from the Johnson & Wales University, and an honorary master's degree from the Culinary Institute of America. With a focus on quality ingredients sourced from local purveyors, Chef John opened Blackbarn Restaurant in New York City in 2015. He also responded to a higher calling with a desire to feed those in need by founding the Heavenly HARVST Foundation in 2015 and HARVST Foods in 2018, through which he is determined to make a positive impact on hunger globally. John, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I do have to listen. The question is right now, who came up with the name Go Cry on the Walk-In? Because it cracks me up because I have visualization of how stressful it can be in the kitchen. And everybody has a breaking point at some point, right? And where do
No
you go
doubt.
when you have that breaking point? You go to the
You gotta,
walk-in,
you
right?
go in the walk, at least when it's hot anyway. Honestly, it was something that I always said to people. There is a backstory many, many years ago. One of my cooks during a heavy service. Now, you remember when the plastic wrap had the wicked cutter on it. Now I have
Oh
the
yeah.
fake cutter. It had real
Yeah.
teeth on it. Well, my
Yep.
guy, Michael, the plastic wrap falls off the table and gashes his hand, chef, like
Yeah.
wicked.
Oh yeah.
And
Brutal.
I got to go to the hospital. I'm like, Michael, we're not going anywhere right now. You could go in the walk-in, wrap that thing up and cry, and we're going to go after service. And, that's how it started. And when I wanted to start the podcast, I thought it would be a catchy name, and here we are,
It is. It tells a story about how stressful it is. By the way, did you wrap his hand in plastic wrap? Because that's the only way to really stop a lot of bleeding, right? Plastic wrap's
Absolutely.
amazing.
I made
Yeah.
him do it because I had to take over his station.
Yeah.
I made him
You
do
were
it.
too busy.
I was too busy making pot pies.
Come on. It's great.
Forget about it. Now,
Very good.
I said in the intro, all these dignitaries you fed, but really, you fed cool people like the Stones and, had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame used to be in a Waldorf-Astoria, no?
No, it was every night it was something. Every night, everything was VIP at the Waldorf, right?
Yeah.
Every company might have had events throughout the year, but when they had their main gala or they were launching a new product or something was special, they would hear, the Waldorf, the Plaza, the Pierre. And so, yeah, the Waldorf had the largest ballroom of those types of hotels. And so that's where we did it. Yeah. And it
As
was
a
always exciting. And when everything is VIP, it raises it label certainly, you know, the expectation is higher. So it just, if you're up for doing to work a little bit harder to meet that expectation, that's what we had to do. That's what the Waldorf was all about.
Yeah, you know, as a when I attended the Culinary Institute, uh, one of my not my roommate, but a very close friend from home who we went to school with, did his externship at the Waldorf, and then I was lucky 2 weekends to go there. You know, I guess we used to you used to get students from the school to go up there and work different functions on the weekend. So
That's right.
twice I got to work in that kitchen, and you know, as a young guy, never working in anything that size, I was like completely blown away. And I saw you peripherally. You were there, but you know,
I was
they were
I
telling
was
us
there. Trust me.
don't talk to him, don't talk to him,
Oh, I'm very approachable. I'm
brother.
very approachable.
This is a long time ago. This is like
Yeah.
87.
87. There you go. I was, yeah, 2 years after. Yeah, it was
It was
big
right in the
times,
beginning,
man. We
right in
did
the beginning.
7 to 10,000 meals a day between three restaurants, 24-hour room service, ballroom that seats 1,500, starlight roof 600, two other rooms for 350, and more. I mean, just honestly, up to 25 functions a day. Sometimes I've been talking to my chef, so we did this together, like the band of brothers, right? Going through war, and we all look at each other like, "How did we do that? We don't even know how we did it.
Yeah, no
We did it.
choice.
You get through it."
You have no choice, right, chef?
Yeah, that's right.
It always gets done. No matter who gets sick, no matter who gets cut, no matter what happens, the job's got to get done. We know that.
That's
I,
right. That's
I mean,
right.
so tell us. I mean, tell us a little about. I mean, you rose to this, you know, this kind of fame really, really quick. You know, was there anything? Was there any moment that really sticks out to you that, you know, said that was my turning point? That's how I. That's how this happened for me.
There was a time. Okay, so when I did my externship at 19 years old at the Waldorf, I walked into the kitchen. I found the executive chef Arno Schmidt. And I said, I introduced myself. I said, I will do anything. Peel onions. I'll sweep floors. I'll do anything it takes to work here. He laughed and said, okay. So he hired me on the spot. I did my externship there, and the place was absolute. It was absolute madness. Um, it was so exciting though, but I was really disappointed in the quality of the food. There was a lot of frozen food, subpar, um, tough times for labor, and that was kind of commonplace for hotel food in back in the late 70s, probably through the 70s into the 80s. But every night, the executive chef Arno Schmidt came down to the kitchen, and he took care of. He like pushed everybody aside, and he took care of Imelda Marcos, Frank Sinatra, the all the banks, Irving Trust Manufacturers, Hanover, they had suites. So he did all the VIPs, and he put food out that was just awesome. And I remember looking at that, and I'm like, but why isn't everybody getting that? So my goal, my vision, like I want to bring, I want to make it so that everyone that comes to the Waldorf gets that kind of food. And so at a young age, I formed a vision for myself for the future of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish. And, being hardworking and conscientious. So I always did my very best. I worked on a station where I had to ask the chef to get me fresh vegetables, and I wanted to make my own stock to make my own sauces, and I didn't want to use base, and so, he was said like, "Hey, if you want to do the work, okay." He got me those ingredients. But funny thing is, the guy next to me on the vegetable station said, "Hey, can you get me fresh vegetables?" Right? And it kind of went around the kitchen. Everybody kind of stepped up and wanted to do their pride. Now all of a sudden kicked in, like, I want to do that too. That's great. So doing that helped me get to the next position. So I moved from one kitchen to the next. Eventually there was a new chef. He came to me and said, "Hey, I want to make you the sous chef." I said, I don't want to be the sous chef. I'm sorry. I've so much to learn. I haven't worked in the bake shop. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. He says, "Well, okay, think about it over the weekend." So I came back on Monday and he said, "Well, you ready to go?" And I said, "No, no, chef. I've made my decision. I'm going to stay doing what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying learning." He said, "Well, okay. Um, well, starting Monday, you're the sous chef." So that was a wasted exercise. But he took me then and tutored me and really he spent so much time with me and helped develop my palate. I was the chef saucier. That meant that's the highest level in the kitchen as a cook, right? So my entire day and my two guys working with me, we made all the stews, the broths, the consommes, everything for all the restaurants and the banquet. It was a major production, but it's all about quality. It's all about focus and deriving flavor and reduction and balance. And it was just so amazing. And my palate really developed. And um, from there, I became the executive sous chef. And then I think what's really important. It's funny. I just had this conversation earlier tonight when somebody said, "Is somebody ready for the next step?" I said, when I was at the Waldorf, they made me executive chef because I was doing the job of the executive chef. You don't wait to be asked for a promotion. You do the job and you'll get the job, right? So show what you can do at all the time and it's just make it easy for the people in charge, right? So if there's a vacant position, the owner or the manager or the chef before they put out an ad and try to hire somebody that they don't know and take a chance on, if they can look inside and say, well, geez, the guy's already doing the job, let's just give it to him. That's how you get the promotion, right? So do the job. Don't wait to be asked to do the job, and you'll have the job. So you own it, and that's what I did. And that's for me now as an owner. For me, the most valuable characteristic of an individual is somebody who takes initiative. Taking initiative is everything. People that there's a million things that need to be done in our business. You know that, right? And
Yes,
it's either all going to fall on my shoulders or it's going to be shared with those people that see what needs to be done and takes the initiative to get it done, to solve those little issues. Could be simple as just picking up paper off the floor or rearranging the walk-in or taking out the garbage when it gets full instead of walking around it and letting the garbage fall on the floor, right? So initiative is everything, and ownership is everything. When somebody owns it, like my executive chef, he'll work 14 hours a day. He's heading for the door. There's a light bulb that's out. He goes back, he gets the light bulb, and he changes the light bulb. Why? Because he owns it. He cares enough to do that. That for me is so valuable when I spend so much of my time trying to get people to even see what a problem is. Don't you see that the lights are uneven? Don't you hear that the music isn't loud enough? Don't you see that this sauce is broken? Do you need me to tell you that? So that's I could spend my life doing that, or I could try and get people to see what's supposed to be and get them to sense what their responsibility that they are the quality control person for their area, not me. And you
that's
get
really
that
great.
by rewarding good behavior. And I learned that by training our dog, right? I went to dog training and dog was absolutely wild. And so they said, listen, you're not going to discipline the dog. You're going to give the dog a command. And when they do it, you're going to reward them with a treat, with your voice fluctuate, with petting them. That's it. And I said, well, you don't know my dog, right? My dog's never going to respond to that. Well, sure enough, in 4 sessions, this dog was doing everything I said. It was amazing. So I like, wow, if I do this at work or with my kids, maybe it'll work there too. So I went back to work and I started, instead of being Mr. Negativity, finding everything that's wrong, because there's so much that's wrong everywhere all the time. If you're looking, right? Let me see if I can find things that are good. So when I found something good, I would make a big deal out of it. I said, my God, this sauce is unbelievable. I would say, hey, Joe, call everybody around. Put your knives down. Come on over here. Everybody taste this sauce. Joe, tell everybody how you made this sauce because this is amazing. Well, I did that. And within, I'd say, the most, a day, maybe the next day, maybe the day after. I had people coming to me and saying, "Chef, would you taste this?" Or "Chef, come see. We rearranged the walk-in." Right? So as humans, we crave recognition. And when you do, when you meet the expectation or exceed an expectation and it's recognized, you just want to do more. So in a very short period of time, I went from this manager chef of trying to tell people what to do and how to do it to inspiring people to bring their absolute best to work, put their best foot forward because I believe if you do the training properly, people know. They know what the expectation is. They don't always do it. But if you recognize it and make a big deal out of it, you're just going to get more. So
Wow.
positive reinforcement is everything. And then I said, well, okay, I can't blow smoke up people's ass all day long, right? There's things that go wrong. I have to address it. So rather than say, hey, this sauce is broken, it's not good, I say, Joe, taste the sauce. Tell me what you think. Is this something you would serve to the president? Would you serve this to your family? Oh, no, chef. No, no, no. I wouldn't do that. It's not good. It's not good. Okay, Joe, great. All I need to know is what are you going to do now to fix it? That's all I need to know. And then tell me later, what are you going to do so it doesn't happen again? So that little interaction didn't humiliate anybody, but it let them know that quality is their responsibility, not mine. And so those few things like that gave me business partners in elevating a massive organization. It was amazing, honestly.
Wow. Well said, chef. I mean, I follow all those rules as a leader myself. I mean, as a younger chef, I was that guy. We all went. I went to the Culinary Institute of America as well, and the teachers there had a way. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of yelling, and there was a lot of intimidation. And I felt, as time went on, it just wasn't the way to run a kitchen. It wasn't the way. I mean, if people were scared or they were worried about everything that you were going to scream at them, they just didn't accomplish what you wanted them to accomplish. And
Never,
when you
never.
make them feel happy about who they are and where they are, they want to be there more. They want to stay an extra hour after work. They want to work a little harder on that dish. And like you just said, they want to come and get that recognition from you and say, Chef, how
Yeah,
is this? And how's my station look? And I've turned
yeah,
I've turned big places around, with just that style. Now let's
that's
take a
good.
step. Let's take a step from the hotel and talk a little bit about Black Barn. I mean, you know, people hear this word all the time, farm to table, and can you explain about really what's the essence of that? Because obviously we live in New York. In the winter, how much farm to table are we really getting, sir? So can we talk a little bit about
Yeah,
how you handle that?
yeah. Um, so I never, from the beginning, I never said we were farm to table. I never did. Somebody all of a sudden it just started talking about that we were farm to table. And then somebody said, "Well, can you geez, you're farm to table." I guess because it's Black Barn and
Okay,
people make that assumption, I believe. And then they asked just if they could if we could show them a list of all the farms we work with. So Chef Brian and I put this list together. I was like, "Oh my God, there's like 24 small farms and local people that we do." So I I guess we might be farm
we
to
might be farm
table.
to table.
Okay. I mean, look, what did we do before that? Use fresh food, right? Yeah, sure. Our raspberries are coming from California. Um, yeah, things come from all over the country, and we still have some of that, right? I'm not eccentric about refusing anything that's gone beyond but we seek out local cheese farmers and chicken farms and Nyman Ranch gets a lot of local stuff and
Great,
D'Artagnan
great
helps us
company.
get
Yeah,
things and
great company.
there's Hudson Valley, a lot from the Hudson Valley. So there's a lot of resources in our area to be and um, yeah, there's a lot of things being produced in our area, so it makes it easier. Sometimes it's a little more expensive, but it's mostly artisanal products that taste better.
Yes, sir.
And so it works for us. I think the biggest thing right now. and everybody should hear this because it took me by surprise. Um, I think the first thing I did to be was certified green. We're certified green. What does that mean? There's an organization that's that's setting out a lot of standards that if you comply with enough of these standards, you get a certification of being green. So you're doing what you can to reduce gases, to reduce waste, reduce energy, and so we've got a pretty big restaurant, and our electric bill is very high. All of our bills are very high. So I'm always looking to see where we can reduce our expenses. And somebody gave me a proposal to switch all our lights to LED. And it was a small investment, but it reaped big changes. And so between and so always looking to save money, whether it be less water, equipment that uses less electricity. It just started. It just started snowballing, and before you know, we will do check off all these qualifications, and so we're certified green.
That's awesome.
Even to the point now where we were buying water bottles, right, to serve water in. Right,
Right.
everybody buys water bottles, but they break, and every few months I'm buying another, you know, 5 dozen water bottles. And I'm also seeing that we're throwing out all these clear white wine bottles in the garbage every day. So I'm like,
Right.
what are we doing? What's the big deal? What if we take the label off, run them through the dishwasher, clean them, and use leftover white wine bottles to pour our water? So that's what we do. I don't buy water bottles anymore, right?
Awesome.
We make some of our own cutting boards out of wine boxes and
That's
just line
hot.
it with a piece of butcher paper.
That's hot.
So a lot of things like our mushrooms. So we compost. We put it in a separate garbage can, our vegetable scraps. There's a company that comes and picks those up. They make compost. From that compost, they grow mushrooms. We buy those mushrooms at a discount and we use those mushrooms. So we're really circulating. We're using, we're producing less gases, greenhouse gases. We are putting our wasted vegetables to good use. So things like this are so where I'm going with this is this is very nice, but now we have companies, a lot of companies are required to do business with other companies that support global initiatives, climate, um, and and greenhouse and uh, conservation. Thank you. So we are getting more business because of our green certification
That
and our
recognition.
recycling efforts and our composting. So it's paying off. It's become a really smart business initiative as well.
And then recently I see you started what's called Heavenly HARVST Foundation, which is, has a mission of ending world hunger. So you're just constantly now trying, using your knowledge of food to just keep doing better things. I mean, that's really awesome.
Thank you. Well, it didn't. Well, it did kind of happen suddenly. So after I left the Waldorf to open a restaurant, um, I couldn't raise all the money. I raised some of the money, but not all the money. So that I lost that deal. And within 3 days, I got a call to open somebody's restaurant. So I became a consultant. Right away, I became a consultant. And for 2 or 3 years, I designed kitchens, opened different restaurants, and but the whole time I was still looking for my restaurant. And it took about 4 years before I found Black Barn. So in between the Waldorf and Black Barn, one of the consulting jobs I had was for Chicken Soup for the Soul, the book publisher. They wanted to do a line of products under their name, starting with soups, broths. They wanted 100 products. So in a year and a half, year and 3 quarters, we developed about 83 products. We got 23 products to market. But so what I would have to do is go to the grocery store and look around and see what's the white space. What what does America need? What's the next product that America needs before I start developing something, right? And so one day I saw this Uncle Ben's ready cook rice. Now I never did grocery shopping before. My 30 years at the Waldorf, I never saw an inside of a grocery store. My wife took care of that, and I went to work. But now I'm going to the grocery stores. I see this Uncle Ben's ready cook rice. It's cooked rice in a pouch at room temperature. And I'm thinking, my God, if I put cooked rice in a pouch and put it on the shelf, it would ferment and that bag would explode. Then I see Starkist tuna in a pouch.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? So I go to the food scientist that I'm working with on the other products. I said, help me understand. He said, well, that plastic pouch is the new can.
Right.
So when you put food in that pouch and you put it through a retort, which is a heat chamber that kills the bacteria, it sanitizes the food, kills the bacteria, it now has an 18 to 24-month shelf life. I said, interesting. I said, can I put that tuna in with the rice? He says, sure. Can I put vegetables in there and sauce? He says, you can put anything you want in there. As long as it reaches that temperature for a certain period of time, it's going to be fine. I said, interesting. Why isn't anybody doing that? He says, I have no idea. So I did it. So that was my idea to do for myself. And as I'm driving down the Jersey Turnpike, I had this calling. I mean, it was very emotional. Um, I never experienced anything like that. Kind of a kind of a message or a I mean, I didn't hear a voice, but I had this idea that was so compelling and so overwhelming. It was like being told, you will make make these meals. It'll be called Heavenly Harvest, and it's going to be for those in need.
Wow.
And my question was like, why me? And the answer I got, because you can. So that was it. So, okay, it was loud and clear, my message, right? And so I called a lawyer. I formed this 501c3. I told the lawyer I wanted to name it Heavenly Harvest. He says, give me about 10 names because I can tell you your name is already taken. I said,
Right.
well, no, that's the name. And he said, it's going to cost you a lot of money if I keep doing this. I said, it's okay. Use that name. So he came back to me and said, son of a gun, it's yours. So Heavenly Harvest was born. I found a co-packer who did just rice, and he worked with me to formulate all these different meals. And so we started making meals in the pouches with a 18-month shelf life, and we give them away. I raise money. I do a fundraising event. I have another fundraising coming up, fundraiser in October 24th at Black Barn. Our goal is to raise make enough money. We want to make another 125,000 meals this year.
Phew.
Um, feed the children. Probably my biggest, for you'd say, customer is asking me for 120,000 more meals to give out to families across the country. And they do these giveaways in communities around the country, probably almost every month. Sometimes I can attend, sometimes I can't, but it's really great and very rewarding to see people line up and pull up and get all kinds of goods in their car, um, and they're very grateful, and it's a beautiful thing. It's great.
Awesome. Chef, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and thank you for all that you've done for our community and our industry. And soon maybe we'll get Eddie to take me out to dinner. You know what I mean?
I know of a place you can go.
That's where we're gonna go.
Yeah,
Listen,
26th Street in Manhattan, between Madison and Fifth.
all
Let me
right,
give you the
brother.
phone number to make a reservation. Tell Eddie to get you there. Now, listen,
I
it is
think
great.
I think
I've known
Eddie
him for
got the
many years.
he got the GPS set. We're already ready to go.
There you
Chef,
go. Great.
thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much for having me. Appreciate it.
And remember,
You take care.
you're watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. Check out the Instagram, Chef Cholo 8, and check out our YouTube channel, Go Crying to Walk In. Peace.